Mr. Bill, here we are at the SMMT South test day.
Yes, I think it's a great opportunity to try out many different vehicles from many different manufacturers.
Yes, all in the same place on the same day.
Indeed.
They do know who we are, don't they?
I hope so.
Yes, perhaps if they look at our videos, they might not invite us back. But let's not think about that now. There's just one problem, though.
And what's the problem?
I've forgotten my tweed jacket. Welcome to slightly shambolic SMMT reviews.
Anger, and every time you haven't got it right, you're one of us. Do you know and do you know that you are not? Do you know and do you know that you are not? It's important for you to realise that you are not gonna notice.
So this is a 2021 Suzuki Vitara 1.4 SZ-5 mild hybrid, although I think Suzuki just call it a hybrid. We've actually had this generation of Vitara on the channel before. I think it's called the JY series, or the 4th generation. This is a manual front-wheel drive version. You can get automatic, and you can get four-wheel drive with this car as well. At the moment, all Vitaras and quite a lot of other Suzukis have the same power plant. It's a 1.4, formerly known as a booster jet engine, developing 130 horsepower. 4-cylinder with a turbo. Feels very lively. Now, the 1.4 engine in this car, without the mild hybrid system, I think it was until 2020, used to develop 140 horsepower, so it was a little bit faster perhaps. But it feels very easy, smooth. It feels like there's plenty of torque in this engine, probably assisted by the mild hybrid. That I think was introduced by Suzuki to do with European emissions regulations. There was also a 1 litre engine available immediately after this car was facelifted in 2018. And before that, there was a 1.6 litre engine from the launch in 2015, generating 120 horsepower. There was also a 1.6 litre diesel, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. What we do talk about is the fact actually the Vitara is very nice to drive. It's got a nice gearbox, nicely weighted steering, handling's pretty good for such a tall car, and it's actually pretty manoeuvrable. The driving position is very good if you want to see over the bonnet, and visibility is very good. It really helps you've got this panoramic sunroof in this car as well. As with the previous time that I drove one of these, I quite like it. That's maybe not a surprise to anyone, but I quite like it. Okay, let's take a closer look around this car. So here we are with the facelifted Suzuki Vitara. Because the car's been out about 6 years, it's not the newest design perhaps, but I think it still looks very smart. We've actually got front parking sensors on this car, which differentiates it from something like, I don't know, an MG ZS, which is about the same size as one of these, possibly slightly bigger. I like the daytime running lights being in the separate piece of the bumper down there. The grille actually looks very nice. I think it's sort of dark chrome, I think I'd describe it as. The contrast roof with this solid red colour looks very nice actually. The wheels actually have some proper tyres on them as well. They're 215/55 R17s with diamond cut alloy wheels, so they're not the biggest wheels, but I think actually because this car does come with a proper four-wheel drive version that you can select, that's probably very appropriate for this. If I just open the tailgate, there's no electric boot release. We don't need one in this car. That I think is the sensor for the remote central locking. camera is just there, and the parking sensors at the bottom. One thing I really like about this car is the fact that it's got places in the sides to just put things like that, which is really handy. So if I want to just raise or lower the boot floor, I can put stuff out of the way. It'll raise the boot floor like that. So there we go. I'll just put this bag down so it doesn't quite fit it into the pocket at the side, which you actually can remove as well, like that. The boot light is just underneath here. And there's a 12-volt socket there too. No hooks of any description, which is a bit of a shame, but if we lift this up to pull the boot floor out, stand that up, try and do it with one hand. There we go. We have got space for a spare tyre in there, although this particular car doesn't have one. I think that's an option. So I'll just put this back in the up position. The boot volume on a Vitara is about 385 litres, which compares well with other cars in the class, but perhaps isn't the biggest these days. You've got to remember the car came out 6 years ago, so it has been out a little while now, although it looks very nice. The facelifted tail lights look better than the previous ones, and the single reversing light is just down at the bottom. That looks very nice. Oops, someone's got cable in there. I'll have to maybe make them aware of that at Suzuki. Let's put that away. This is truly shambolic today. One thing that I haven't seen changed is these big plastic door cards, which in a car that costs a fair bit more than £20,000, I think is probably not what I prefer to see. Clambering in is really easy. You can slide your feet right underneath these seats here, so there's a fair bit of room, although with this panoramic sunroof I've just realised my headroom is quite restricted. I mean, it's nice, but the headroom that I experienced on the previous car we filmed, the 2018 1.6 SZ-5 Kuro, the headroom was a lot better, but look at the space to put your feet under the seats. That's really good. No USB ports or vents or anything like that, unfortunately. We have got bottle holders though. They look like they fit a nice big bottle. You know what, I've actually got a big bottle. I'll demonstrate with that. Right, Mr. Bill, who's helping me film today, is just talking about filming props. But there we go, it's a 1.5 litre bottle, and actually that fits in the door quite nicely. So, nice demonstration there. So yes, there's the sunroof, which is taking a bit of my headroom. But otherwise, it's not too bad. I do like this new upholstery I've put in the car, but it's very different from the car that I filmed back in May. Keyless entry in this particular one, although I know some of you prefer just a normal key. Oh, we've got heated mirrors with blind spot monitoring. Brilliant. Let's just see if we could put this in here as well. Yes, brilliant, we can. It's very easy to get in and out. It's one of the easiest cars I've actually driven in terms of getting in and out. Just shut the door. They have actually put some material here on the door cards over the pre-facelift model. It does feel a bit nicer. This is a higher spec anyway, so it would do, but the vents don't say Suzuki on them anymore. I think we used to say Suzuki, or was it just a little thing in the middle perhaps says Suzuki? I don't know. The dashboard though is nice and soft. That's good. It's a big improvement. We've got some nice controls here for the heating ventilation system, separate controls, which I always like rather than being buried in a touchscreen. Touchscreen here, I think that's a 7-inch touchscreen. It's a little bit smaller than a lot of other ones on the market. It does have sat-nav, and it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto too. So I think if we press this, unfortunately I've turned the volume down. Press this, we can have a look at see what connections might be available. No, it just says that. Right, so we just go home. It's not that difficult to use. I have used one of these before, and it's very similar to the system that was in the pre-facelift cars too, although it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto from what I understand. But you haven't put a physical knob here for changing the stereo volume, which I think is a bit of an omission, but if you were driving this car, you would just use these buttons here on the steering wheel. Nice to see that they've actually put a button here for active cruise control versus ACC there. Let's see if we can do something with this touchscreen. There we go. There's the I think the lane keep assist button as well. So it's got a lot of safety features. This car, it's really good. So if we have a look at the settings here. Now it looks like the systems for all the safety features are in here. Does that mean that we press this button there? I'm going to have to go and close that door, aren't I? Otherwise I'm not going to find out. But anyway, we'll switch the car on again. Great, there we go. That's what I needed to do. You can see here the separate controls. That looks pretty easy to understand. Front heated screen, or maybe it's just a demister. Rear heated window, automatic, climate control. It's only single zone in this car though. 6-speed manual gearbox and a normal handbrake. Oh, I'm so happy, viewers. I love normal handbrakes. Nice big deep compartment for storing things in too. The sort of shiny stuff on the dashboard looks quite nice. Some silver accent, I think. Let's see if my secret mission documents fit in the glove box whilst I'm here, because that's what we always do. If I take that Suzuki handbook out, will that actually fit? What's a big handbook? Oh, yes! Viewers! Oh! That's always a sign of an exciting car. You can fit the secret mission documents in. There we are, to put that back. There we go. Oh, fantastic. Right, so this is now working. I think we press this button here to cycle through stuff. Yes, we do. There we go. Oh, it's a little motion thing. Torque and power meter. Interesting. Yeah, there's the mild hybrid system. Batteries in the back. Great. Wow. I'm very impressed with all this, viewers, actually. It's a nice upgrade over the previous model we tested. Right, time to take a look at the engine. So here we are, viewers. For 1.4, they still call it the booster jet, which I'm pleased to see. Generating 130 horsepower in this particular car. The non-hybrid earlier version generates 140 horsepower. But yeah, some of the hybrid system is inevitably in here, but I mean, we can see the gearbox down there, so there's actually a lot better access in this particular car than there are in a lot of other cars like this fitted with mild hybrid systems. So yeah, that's very good. There's the battery. It's not a very big battery either, it's quite a small one. Bonnet prop looks a little bit sort of skinny, really. I presume the bonnet's quite light. In fact, the doors and the tailgate of this car are incredibly light, and one of the reasons why this has reasonably good fuel economy figures is because of the lightness of the construction. Right, I think Mr. Bill and I are going to be going for another little drive. One thing I've just noticed is that we've got lots of buttons for actually turning off various things, like I think that's autonomous emergency braking, lane keeping, assist lane departure warning, traction control, start stop. You can turn all these things off if you want. I think some people will really like that. That looks like the same reversing camera that they've had in the Vitara for some time. It's even got the little lines on it which look like they were perhaps drawn on by, I don't know, coral paint or something like that in the 90s. But that is part of the charm of having a Suzuki, and that's no bad thing, really. As you've just seen in an insert that we've done, I like the fact you can turn a lot of the systems off if you don't want them by just buttons. You don't have to fiddle around in this menu to do it, and that's a really safe thing. A lot of viewers don't like things that are too complicated, but if they're there, they can turn them all off, and certainly in this car you can do that. It's not so easy to do it in a lot of other cars. You have to fiddle around with touchscreens, things like that. 0 to 60 in this car I think is about 9.5 seconds, and it sounds and feels good. The booster jet engine in this car, when it was the 140 horsepower version without the mild hybrid system was known for being quite swift, and this 6-speed manual's quite nice. I can get it into 6 there. There we go. The economy of this car also is quite impressive. I think it's about 55, 57 miles per gallon, something like that. Feels nice to operate. As you know, I'm a massive fan of just normal standard 6-speed gearboxes and conventional handbrakes, and this car delivers in that way. It's nice to drive. The steering is very precise. It doesn't lean too much in the corners. Just go around this like this, and yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. Even makes a little tiny snarl when you're driving along, which is always a pleasure. I've really enjoyed this car in a way that I didn't quite expect. I mean, the 1.6 engine in the pre-facelift cars was absolutely fine, but this is really good. I know the price has risen quite a lot over the pre-facelift cars. This car is somewhere around sort of £24,000, I think, but at the moment Suzuki are doing a £3,000 some cashback offer on their models, I think, until the end of the month. So that's just something to consider when you are looking at a car of this class. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of Slightly Shambolic SMMT reviews. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to like this video, leave a comment below. Social media links are down below. It always helps also if you switch on notifications. Thank you again to Mr. Bill from the Woz Wheels channel for helping me film. It's not possible to do these things so quickly without him being here. And I'm sure we'll have something else from this SMMT South testing day to come very shortly.
Every time you haven't got it right, you're one of us. Do you know that you are alone? Do you know that you are alone? It's important.